What if the problem wasn't that you work too little, but that you're playing the wrong game? Timothy Ferriss didn't write this book to help you become more productive. He wrote it so you would stop selling your time and start buying freedom. The central question is not, how do I make more money? But rather, how do I design a life that doesn't need vacations? Ferriss challenges a deeply rooted belief. Work hard now, live well later. He proposes something radically different. Live well now, using intelligent systems instead of constant effort. The book revolves around one key concept. The new rich. People who prioritize time freedom, mobility, income disconnected from working hours. They are not rich because of accumulated money. They are rich because of control over their lives. The deal method. How to stop exchanging time for money. Ferriss structures his proposal into 4 clear blocks. DEAL. Timothy Ferriss did not create DEAL as a productivity system. He designed it as an escape method. Each letter does not change what you do. It changes how you decide. And when you change how you decide, your life begins to obey different rules. D. Definition. The point where most people fail without realizing it. Ferriss begins by attacking the root. The social definition of success. We work toward goals we never chose. Stability, growth, and a solid career. But we rarely ask ourselves, stability for what? Growth of what? A career toward where? The key exercise, fear versus cost. Ferriss proposes something brutally honest. Do not ask yourself what you want, but what you fear. Divide a sheet of paper into 4 columns. 1. What is the worst that could happen? 2. How could I reverse it? 3. What benefits would I gain even if I failed? 4. What is the cost of doing nothing? Here comes the revelation. Most people are not paralyzed by fear of failure, but by the fear of looking different. The real enemy is not losing money, it is breaking the social script. Mini retirements. Ferriss redefines rest. Not as a final reward, but as part of the system. Don't wait until 65 to live. Distribute the good life now while you still have energy. Hidden principle. Time without control is not freedom. Control over time is. E. Elimination. Less but better, and with intention. Ferriss declares war on being busy. The big lie? If I do more, I move forward more. The reality? If you do the right thing, you can do less. The 80-20 law applied to life. Ferriss does not use it only in business. He uses it in clients, tasks, emails, relationships, information consumption. If you eliminated 80% of what you do today, what would actually break? Spoiler, almost nothing. Information diet, news, social media, notifications. They do not inform you, they fragment you. Ferriss suggests checking email 1 to 2 times per day. Deep focus blocks. Zero consumption of irrelevant news. Uncomfortable truth. You do not need to be informed. You need to be focused. Elimination is not laziness. It's respect for your energy. A. Automation. Where time stops being currency. Here the book becomes provocative. Ferriss argues that most people don't need more effort, more hours, and more motivation. They need systems. Muse businesses, not empires, not exhausting startups. Small businesses with high margins, low complexity, and proven demand. The goal is not to scale, it's to free yourself. Intelligent outsourcing. Ferriss introduces a radical idea. You don't have to be the best, you just have to know how to coordinate. Delegate, emails, support, research, and repetitive processes. Not to be lazy, but to focus on decisions that actually matter. Golden rule. If you have to do it every day, it must be automated. If it cannot be automated, it must be eliminated. L. Liberation. The true reward. This is the point everything leads to. It's not about stopping work, it's about working without chains. Ferriss shows how to negotiate remote work, measure results by output, not hours, and design geographic mobility. Freedom is not running away. Freedom is choosing consciously. You can love your work and still not want it to control your life. The final identity shift. You move from, how many hours do you work, to, what results do you produce? That mental shift is irreversible. Powerful messages from the book. Fear is reduced through action, not thought. You don't need permission to live differently. Time is more valuable than money. The worst risk is a life without intention. Ferriss doesn't promise comfort, he promises choice. The truth, the book does not say directly. Deal is not for everyone, and Ferriss knows it. This method requires critical thinking, tolerance for discomfort, the ability to say no. Because freedom without judgment is not freedom, it's just chaos with good publicity. You don't need a different life, you need a different system. My opinion about the book. When you finish the 4-hour workweek, you don't feel like you read a manual. You feel like someone rearranged your mental furniture without asking permission. Timothy Ferriss doesn't write like a distant wise man. He is more like that uncomfortable friend who has already asked himself the questions you have been avoiding for years and now insists on showing them to you. His voice is not elegant, but it's direct. Sometimes he exaggerates, sometimes he provokes, and sometimes he oversimplifies too much. But he's never innocent. Every exaggeration has a purpose, to break a belief. From a literary point of view, the book does not seek beauty. It seeks impact. It is built as a sequence of pushes, short stories, extreme examples, clear rules. It does not want you to stop and contemplate. It wants you to act. That is why some readers find it uncomfortable. It is not a text to admire, it is a text that interrogates you. As a personal development work, its greatest virtue is not teaching you to work less. That's superficial. The true achievement of the book is that it forces you to review a deeply rooted idea. That constant sacrifice is a virtue in itself. Ferriss questions that narrative with a simple and dangerous question. What if you are tired not because you lack discipline, but because you are pursuing the wrong goal? Now, as a coach, here comes the honest part. This book is not universal. Not every profession can be automated, not every context allows immediate mobility, and not everyone is ready for the uncertainty involved in designing life outside the traditional script. If someone reads it expecting a magic formula, they will end up frustrated. But if it's read the way it should be read, not as a command, but as a provocation, then it becomes powerful. Because Ferriss is not saying, do exactly this. He's saying, look at what is possible when you question what you were told was normal. The greatest value of the book is psychological. It gives you back authorship over your life. It reminds you that many rules you obey are not laws, they are cultural agreements, and agreements can be renegotiated. There is something deeply therapeutic in that message. Many people live exhausted not because they work too much, but because they feel they have no choice. This book introduces a healing idea. Maybe you cannot change everything today, but you can start thinking differently today. And thinking differently over time changes decisions. And decisions change lives. When you close the book, the question that remains is not whether you will work 4 hours. The question is much more intimate and much more serious. Am I building a life I want to inhabit, or am I only fulfilling what is expected of me? That's why the 4-hour workweek has not aged badly. Not because all of its tactics remain intact, many of them do not, but because its spirit remains relevant. In a world obsessed with productivity, Ferriss had the audacity to talk about freedom. And that, even today, remains uncomfortable and necessary. Books that complement the 4-hour workweek. If Ferriss opened the door, these books teach you how to walk without getting lost. Essentialism. Greg McKeown. When you have already decided to work less, but don't know where to begin, Ferriss tells you, eliminate. McKeown teaches you how to choose without guilt. This book dives deeper into an uncomfortable truth. You cannot have it all, and the sooner you accept it, the lighter you walk. While Ferriss cuts with a machete, McKeown uses a scalpel. It's the perfect complement for avoiding the trap of freedom with excess, ideal for anyone who understood the message, but still keeps saying yes to everything. Deep Work, Cal Newport. To avoid confusing freedom with dispersion, Ferriss breaks the traditional office. Newport warns you about the danger that comes next. Distraction. This book grounds something essential. If you work fewer hours, every hour matters more. It doesn't talk about motivation. It talks about concentration as a competitive advantage, perfect for turning free time into real impact. The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel. To heal your emotional relationship with money. Ferriss talks about money as a tool. Housel talks about money as a mirror. This book explains why many people, even with freedom, still feel insecure. It's not a lack of income, it's a lack of emotional clarity. It complements Ferriss from financial maturity, not ambition. Your Money or Your Life, Vicky Robin and Joe Dominguez. The philosophical route Ferriss doesn't fully explore. If Ferriss is the modern rebel, this book is the calm sage. Here appears a powerful question. How much life are you exchanging for every dollar you earn? It doesn't propose running away from work. It proposes aligning it with your values. Ideal for readers who want freedom without cynicism. Designing Your Life, Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. For those who feel dizzy when breaking the mold. Ferriss pushes you into the void. This book teaches you how to build a bridge while moving forward. It uses design thinking applied to life. Prototypes, small experiments, and adjustments without drama. Perfect for those who want change without betting everything at once. Together, these books complete the map Ferriss begins. Because freedom is not only about escaping the system. It's about knowing what to keep, what to remove, what to protect, and what to build next. Ferriss teaches you to question the game. Essentialism teaches you to choose better. Deep work teaches you to focus. The Psychology of Money teaches you to understand your fears. Your Money or Your Life teaches you to measure wealth in time. And Designing Your Life teaches you to move forward without needing all the answers. Because designing your life is not one big heroic decision, it's a series of smaller, braver choices. And maybe the real lesson is this. You don't need to disappear from the world to be free. You need to stop living by default. Who would I recommend this book to? I would recommend this book to people who feel trapped in a work routine and want more control over their time. Entrepreneurs, freelancers, consultants, or digital workers who can automate or delegate tasks. Readers willing to question traditional ideas about success, productivity, and career growth. People who want to simplify their life and focus only on what truly creates value. Those who see the book as a mental provocation, not as a magic formula. I would not recommend this book to people looking for a quick, guaranteed formula to become rich or work less. Workers in highly rigid, fully in-person jobs where automation or remote work is not realistic. People in financial survival mode who cannot safely experiment with major life changes. Readers who confuse freedom with avoiding discipline, structure, or responsibility. Anyone who takes Ferriss's advice literally without adapting it to their own context. This book is more useful as a mental trigger than as a literal operating manual. If someone reads it expecting to copy Ferriss's lifestyle exactly, they will probably crash. But if they read it to ask better questions about their time, their work, and their decisions, it can be very powerful. The ideal reader for this book would be someone who already suspects that working more doesn't necessarily mean living better, but still doesn't know how to break that pattern. The final question is not, can I work only 4 hours? The real question is, if I keep living the way I am living now, will I be proud of this life 10 years from now? Because in the end, the greatest wealth is not money. It's waking up every day knowing that your time belongs to you. And when your time is yours, you are finally playing the right game. If this book made you think differently, hit like. And if you want more ideas to design your life with intention, subscribe. Here we don't talk about working more. We talk about living better.